Hey guys, it's SJ. Happy Baby Name Monday. This week's list is double-barreled names. So 2 names with a hyphen to make one first name. But actually, I think with this list, you're going to hear a lot of great ideas for middle name spots, because I think I'm fascinated by middle names and double barrel names. I have got a double barrel name myself because I'm Sarah Jane, and everyone always calls me SJ. It's just been a kind of nickname that's become more how people refer to me. More people call me SJ than Sarah Jane. But yeah, thank you ever so much to Sasha for requesting this video. It got the most likes from you guys last week, so I hope you really enjoy it. Do get involved, hit like and subscribe if you enjoy the name list, and request a list below, and I will spend the next week researching whatever you want me to. But this has been so much fun because I'm really interested in that middle spot, and I think that particularly for middle names, let me know, because I'm really curious. Let me know what your children's middle names are, because obviously we have all the popularity lists, but it's just the first name, and I've got a suspicion that we go a bit less traditional in the middle, and it's where you're going to find some more of the fun names. So you're definitely going to hear some on this list. So first of all, you probably can guess what the top most popular double-barreled name is for girls. Just have a think. What do you think? It's always something hyphen Rose. So how many of you know like a Tilly Rose or an Amelia Rose? Rose really works as that second short but sweet double barrel second name for girls, and it kind of completes, you know, it sounds like an ending. It doesn't kind of go with an IA ending like Amelia at the end. It kind of lifts you up, whereas Rose kind of completes, if that makes sense. I really overthought this, as you know. So the most popular one of all is Amelia Rose at number 1, and the second most popular second spot for girls is May. So yeah, did that one pop into your mind as well? So again, it's that one syllable, short and sweet, and kind of ending, that completion. And the most popular one with May is actually Gracie May, which I've never met a Gracie May, but that's really lovely. And I think that often we're trying to, why I'm a double barrel name is that my parents loved the name Sarah, but it's really popular, and they wanted me to have something that meant I had something extra about my name that made it more unique, and I think that's again why modern parents are probably choosing it. For boys, the most commonly second name for a double-barreled name is actually James. So that's most often used. The most popular version of it is Alfie James. So do you have little Alfie James? It works so well, and again, it's got that completion. I love the name James so much, and obviously being Sarah Jane, James is kind of like the boy version of it, I guess. And second to that, it is Lee. But actually the most popular double-barreled name for boys of this year was Tommy Lee. That came up the highest, Tommy Lee. So Tommy is one of our fastest rising names, and Tommy Lee became the fastest one. Everyone is going with Rose, everyone is going with May, and adding them together, and it does make a name more unique, but we want better ideas. We want some new and fresh thinking when it comes to double barrels. We want to really modernize this, make it more edgy, make it more unique, really own it. And that's what I've kind of looked into. So I'm going to do some alternatives for Rose, some alternatives for Lee and James. But yes, let's get on. First of all, I'm looking at different ways of making double barreled names more modern, and for me that is really using the trend of masculine names for girls, and how lovely to have a traditionally feminine traditional name mixed up with a more edgy, more masculine name. So I've got some examples for you. You could have a really traditional vintage name like Elspeth, and then I've gone with Elspeth Scout. So you see what I'm doing here? It's kind of like a mixture, and I just love that combination. To me, just makes it suddenly seem like, takes it to another level of a name. Blossom Blake. I have an Evelina Blossom, that's her middle name. Blossom Blake, I love that together. Ophelia August. So sort of taking the second one as a much more stronger name with a really pretty first name. Rosabella James. So James is actually becoming quite a popular name for girls. It was used by Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, but I thought Rosabella James sounds super cool. Or Gianna Jagger. I really liked the idea of Jagger being the second in a double barrel, because it's kind of like Jane, but got that real swagger. Version I was Sarah Jagger. I really like Jagger as a second, so I thought that was a really fun way of doing it. Have fun with that. Let me know in the comment section some others you would do where it's a really feminine first name and then a really more edgy, maybe masculine second, and I think those names sound so stunning. The other way of doing it is thinking about their initials. So because I'm an SJ, a lot of names, they do become, if you're a double barrel, they get shortened to your initials. So my friend has a Ronnie James who's RJ. So I think having a think first of what the initials could be. So for example, what Sasha was saying was Mary Kate. Would she become MK? Would she? Who knows? I think MJ is Spider-Man, isn't it? So I often get called MJ by accident by people who are like Spider-Man fans. So I looked at my favourite initial sounds and given you some boy and girl versions of. So for boys, I really like JJ. I think that works really, really well. And you could have something like Jonas Jacek. Something like that, Jonas Jacek for a JJ. I'm really into that name Jacek at the moment. I know I don't say it right because it's, I think, Polish, and I think they say like Jacek. I can't really do it for the sound in my Wiltshire accent, but I love that name. BB is such a lovely one, so you could have something like Bronwyn Blythe. I love Blythe as a second name as well. Great middle spot. Bronwyn Blythe could be a BB, which is one of my favourite initial names. Gigi, I love Gigi. I think that is super cute. It's maybe something like Geneva Grace. So again, using something more unique like Geneva, which I love as a name, a place name, with the classic Grace, Geneva Grace, who becomes Gigi. Or Zizi. I do really love the nickname Zizi as well. So I've gone with a girl's name. I love this one, Zipporah Zoe. So Zoe is a legit name by itself, and it works really well as a second spot because it's got that kind of completion of like a rose, but you could just have Zoe and Zipporah Zoe, and then she'd be Zizi. So yeah, it's been so much fun writing those down. Back to comfort territory. What can we use as a second name beyond Rose for our most popular girl names and our most popular boy names? What can we use beyond James and Lee? What else is out there that sounds really, really good but works just as well as Rose does? So first choice is Lane, spelt like this with a Y. I really love it. I'm sure I had this on a list a couple of weeks ago or a few weeks ago because it's the modernisation of Jane, and Jane is also a very traditional second double barrel name, but I love Lane. I just think it sounds so much more glamorous, and I was thinking, imagine like Ada Lane. It just sounds so pretty, or Matilda Lane. And I also think it sounds like a brand with Lane, but I just think they sound so wonderful together. And even taking that boy-girl mixture again, like a Stevie Lane, it just sounds so good. So I really love Lane as an alternative. I do love Blossom. I know I probably shouldn't say because it's my daughter's middle name, but I think Blossom is, I've heard it a lot, it's coming up quite a lot of people choosing it as a second. And I think if you take our two most popular girl names, you've got Amelia Rose or Olivia Rose. I think Amelia Blossom and Olivia Blossom sound just as good, and it's got a double, it's longer, but I think it works really, really well as well because it's got that completion of the ending and it's got that prettiness of Rose that everyone obviously really likes. Or how about Ray? So Ray is so pretty. It makes me think of sunshine and gold and sunlight, and it works as a really more modern, I think, sound than Rose. And again, it's going to be more unique. If we're trying to double barrel to be unique, maybe using Ray instead of Rose works for your choice. So ones I've written down are things like Everly Ray. Everly's so popular, or just Evie Ray. I think Ray really works with those IE names that are really popular, like the nickname names. So like an Evie Ray, suddenly it sounds really, really lovely. And last but not least, one I really love so much is Joy. I wanted Joy for a middle spot for a girl for such a long time, and I didn't go with it. And my friend just had a Mabel Joy, and I'm just like, oh, I love it. But I think it works so beautifully as a double barrel, and it would be a reason to double barrel, I think, because it sounds so lovely. So I've written down Alethea Joy. I'm really into the name Alethea at the moment because I love the YouTuber whose daughter's Alethea. I'll link her below. And I just, maybe her middle name's Joy. Who knows? Maybe I've totally like gone into my head. Alethea Joy. Doesn't it just suddenly sound so beautiful? Or I've written down Reverie Joy. So Reverie is a name we've talked about here a few times on the channel because it means dreamlike state. And I thought with Joy, you could have two names that mean happiness and joy, like Reverie Joy. Haven't done meaning so much in this list, but I normally do. So if we're looking for a name with meaning happiness, I've done a whole list on that. And then you could have the double barrel with Joy. And I think it's really stunning one. Vintage, perfect, unique. It's got the J, which is a nice second initial. So yeah, that's one of my top picks. Somebody here suggested how about the second barrel name for boys to be Fox, and I love that idea because I think so many of us love the name Fox but wouldn't be brave enough to use it as a first spot, but it works so cute. So I've written down some ideas. Imagine like Arthur Fox. I really like it. It's so sweet. Or Jackson Fox, because Jackson with the X and then the Fox with the X. Suddenly it's a really cool name, isn't it? Jackson Fox. And you could use it the whole thing, or he could just go by Jackson. But it's a really lovely one. A good idea for a second. I also think Wren works. You could spell Wren either with a W or just R-E-N, either way. And again, it's got that kind of full stopness about it. So I really liked Riley Wren. I really like the name Riley. I know you guys do. Riley Wren sounds really good. Tommy Wren. I think Tommy Wren works good. You know, you've got Tommy Lee. If you want to do something else, Tommy Wren seems to work really well in my palette, my name palette, or Alfie Wren. So I was thinking, does it work for those ones that we really like to double barrel? And I think it really does. Or another J one, how about Joel? So it's a one syllable name that often gets kind of forgotten, but works really lovely. So I've written down Casper Joel, so KJ, that's quite cute as well. Liam Joel, which are my two nephews blended together, Liam Joel, so maybe that's why they sound so perfect to me, but I know Liam is a really popular name, and I think Liam Joel and LJ is cute. Or Oscar Joel, OJ, a lot of people like the nickname OJ, Oscar Joel. The way I got into thinking about this, I've got a few ideas for if you love the top most popular names. Go through that top 10 name list. I'll pop it in the description box and try and come up with like really perfect matching double barrels. It's really good fun. Kind of fun I have on a Friday night. So it's Oliver and Olivia here in the UK. So I tried to think of other ones you could use for those names if you love them and you're looking for them to be more unique. So I've got Oliver Reese, which I think sounds really good. Oliver Seth. I really like the name Seth. I always think it sounds really lovely, and I thought he could be Ossie as a nickname, which is a Swedish name that I really love. Or Oliver Jude. Jude, I had like, oh, that sounds lovely as a second. Oliver Jude for OJ. Oliver Jude, yeah, I love that. It sounds so much more unique, isn't it, than just having Oliver. Or if you like Olivia, Olivia Cove is really lovely. And I've actually written Olivia North, and I know that North is hard, would be hard to use the name North because it's so Kardashian, but I genuinely just really like it, Olivia North. But I didn't get so far with Olivia, so let me know your suggestions below. Wild cards, so at the end of my videos I like to chuck in a few wild ones. These have all been a little bit wild, but I thought colours make a great second middle spot or double barreled, and I've got some really fun ones which I think work so lovely, and I'd love some more of these. So what about Jacoby Blue for a little boy? Jacoby Blue, because blue is such a lovely colour name. Emily Moss, so like moss green, Emily Moss. Again, I really liked that. I love the name Emily, and it's kind of that traditional with that kind of really unexpected colour name. Benedict Grey. Do you see what I mean? I think it somehow works, maybe because it sounds like a surname, but I just think they sound really good together. Juniper Peach. I love Peach as a second. I love JP. It's a girl's nickname. Being JP, then you're called Juniper Peach. I think I love it a lot. But it does make me think of Charlie Brown. I do get Snoopy vibes off of doing this, but I thought it was a really fun wildcard to put in there at the end. I hope you enjoyed this list. I did tons of thinking about it, so I hope there's tons of ideas there that you enjoy. Have a go below, get involved with those sort of challenges that I said about writing the top 10 down and coming up with second double barrels, or using the initials and writing them out. Do give each other lots of love and support down in the comment section below as always. Any birth announcements, please do pop them below and I will be pinning them to the top. We love hearing what names our community have come up with, and let me know what you'd love me to record for you next week. Lots and lots of love, guys. Stay safe, stay well, and yes, take care of you. Bye bye.